What do we got first up? We got Beast and Locks over for the team one, setting up a gate. What looks like maybe the first one. Dream Machine is going to be out here as a survival hunter, living this big spear dream. What is that thing? We got some Hayes back in as a shadow priest. Hey, sure, Mars, well as Kevin. Hayes, have some fun with some shadow before they get nerfed, man. I think shadow is still going to be really, really good, but they are about to cap you guys quite bad. They're about to gat you boys pretty hard. So honestly, hope you guys are going to be okay. Axe toss on to Chicago, maybe in a bit of trouble. Going to be Beast and Locks trying to go for a big Tyrant setup. Got himself a big shield to cover himself. Mortal Coil sent in at Chicago, as they're actually getting fueled right behind boxes, which is exactly ideal where they need to be. Trying to let, if they're trying to let us at Beast and Locks, as they got himself a big shield available. Chicago may just have to go for a while here. Gonna be Feller joining in, trying to see if he can knock Chicago off of their feet, off of their hooves, with a big nether portal at the... Wait, no, you're not nether portal. You're just a Fellord. I thought you were nether portal for some reason. But that is a big Tyrant play. Axe toss onto Chicago. Beastly trying to commit some more damage towards Chicago. Big Sunder to follow, as Beastly is going to just try to see if he can control Chicago with Mortal Coils and Fears, keeping him at arm's reach just to make sure he is staying as healthy as humanly possible. Cover Big Yellow Blast, trying to see if he can exchange a barrage of elemental damage versus Beastly, but he sent out the Demon Doggers. The bite from Demon Doggers is scarier than an elemental blast. You're coalescing the primal elements together into a powerful blast, and the man just 6'3" Fidos on ya, and apparently that bite is worse than their bark. Wall out for Beastly, got him some big defensive. He's just gonna hold his ground and try to see if he can fight through Chicago, but between the capacitor storms and sunders, there's only so much you can do. Root onto all the pets. Mortal Coil Chicago. Beastly trying to go for a fear. Big defensive gone. Still has a dark pack, so he still is in an okay spot. Chicago leaping in, trying to see if he can make a play. Goes to Raptors joining in. There's going to be physical Raptors, hoping to maybe get a bunch of those strikes with Ascendants. Beastly actually under shoulder pressure. What was that? Oh no, Beastly was taking a lot of damage very rapidly. Was that Chicago maybe with a Windfury Ascendants damage? What was that? Big LA Blast to follow. Does Beastly go down here? Chicago starting to see if he can slay him. It's going to be another LA Blast. Does it? I'm taking him out. Oh my goodness, with Kevin charging out. Kevin has got a lot of rage behind him. It's a furious warrior going in, trying to see if he can just absolutely cut Chicago to pieces. Gonna be a Stormbolt on Chicago. Does Kevin have full damage? Spear right after. Chicago does have a wall. Do they even go for a wall though? I think just trying to see if we can CC Kevin if they can. Fear on Chicago, but this is going to be capacitor totem. It's going to go for discharges onto Kevin as the static totem is there, not letting him go anywhere. That position of the static totem was so perfect. It wasn't really letting him up the stairs at all. It's such a weird spot where you do have to go and kill it. You can't really run away from it. You can't go around it. It just got you pinned in that corner spot right there. Maybe in a bit of a weird spot right now. Big LA Blast does get himself a full avatar rolling in. Maybe can ramp up a lot of his damage, but a lot of his burst was used. Does get random procs of Enrage Regen though, Recklessness, so that may be okay, but big procs of Ascendants. I don't know what's stronger, the Recklessness or an Ascendant of an Elemental God. I guess we'll find out. Sunder onto Kevin. Does Chicago have enough damage? Oh, big zap, just charging lightning whenever they get that Ascendance proc next to the Warrior. Dream Machine gonna be up next as a Survival Hunter. Chicago no mana whatsoever. As long as they can avoid this Hunter, try to go for the Spear Stabby, they may be okay. Stun Totem does get hit for Dream Machine. That Totem has a bit of a Z axis to it. Is it still gonna connect? It doesn't. But the Static Totem, that may actually stop him. Chicago trying to see if it can avoid the Hunter. Does get himself a little bit of healing. There is a full Coordinated Assault for Dream Machine. So while he has Coordinated Assault right now, the grenades are going to do more initial damage slightly and generate a lot of resources, but the kill shots are going to be so deadly. Throwing in grenades, Dream Machine does activate a big defensive for himself though, as the Survival of the Fittest helping him reduce the damage by quite a bit. Turtle Shot to follow as the main pet is down for the count. Chicago eliminated that pet is a good move as well, because it does remove the stun from Dream Machine. It also removes some of the defensive from him as well. Gonna be a Dream Machine. Feint Death for the LA Blast. Chicago just needs a couple more Storm Strikes to follow the big Battle Master Striker for Dream Machine into a binding shot onto Chicago. Is gonna get silenced for a second. Doesn't have any more healing. Doesn't wall plenty of mana, but definitely needs a heal. Not a lot of Maelstrom at the ready. Is gonna get the Ghost Raptors in, but they're gonna generate a bit of Maelstrom. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more helpful. Does get himself a few heals. Maybe even a generational too. And it's going to be a Static Totem, keeping the Hunter away. The Hunter is going to focus on the Totem very quickly. He has Chicago in the ropes. Just needs a couple more Globus. Can Chicago turn around? Big LA Blast to follow. Do they get the procs? Oh, needed the procs right there, but they fade down. Kill shot just to make sure he is extra safe, extra careful. Kill shot finishing him off. Big blast with the Fire Breath. Going to be Disintegrate. Is going to get Binding Shot. Unless, actually, no, he got the Shroud. He can just walk to a Binding Shot. And he can avoid a big beam onto the Hunter with the Jeremiah going in for Strongbow, but it does get absorbed into that Shroud wall, as well as full defense is available for Viserys. Got himself plenty of damage. And hopefully plenty of healing. Big deep breath on the Jeremiah. Could be in a bit of a tight spot. Trying to go for a charge towards Viserys as they go in for a Disintegrate. But Disintegrate getting interrupted on blue. Viserys still has access to all those other spells. Trying to go for a knockback with a big gust of wind, flapping his wings, but doesn't quite connect with Jero. And Jero got plenty of survivability. Sleep, putting him into a little bit of a coma. A little bit of a stasis. Does give Viserys the opportunity to at least escape. At 37% dampening though, there's not a lot of healing you can really do. Dropping down the big seedling pod with a shadow onto Jeremiah. That Disintegrate. Actually, Eternity Surge, can you reflect Eternity Surge? Is it reflectable? I don't think it is. I think abilities like that are not actually reflectable. Empowerment spells. Sleepwalker to Jero, Viserys got no health, bleeding out. And Jero does end up slaying him. Axe for Days is going to be up next. Jero got a hell of a team to fight through. Lenteni, Axe, and Vindy. If you can fight through Axe, maybe you can live another day to fight the next competitor. Disarmed by Axe immediately as Axe goes in for full cooldowns. Recklessness, not letting Jeremiah run away. Jeremiah does go in for a charge, realizes that he can't really escape Axe for Days at all. It's going to go for Reflect anything he can just to survive this, but Axe for Days charges out off of that fear. Haste is going to be up next, trying to go for a big Void Eruption. Does he get into this Void Bolts attacking Axe for Days? So he's trying to avoid them, but it's going to be at least 1 or 2 hit him. Mind Games are after. Does not really have a Reflect. That's going to be a Siphon to reduce any kind of healing he has. And any kind of heal he does actually ends up hurting himself instead. Reflect up for Axe for Days. Siphon's still doing damage. It's going to be an Execute. There it goes. Haste maybe can find a way to fight through the rest of these boys with Lentenia and Vindy. That is a Shadow Priest. We are at quite a bit of high of dampening, a 45% dampener, boys. Get a shot into Haste. Is going to go for Disperse immediately as Lentenia got himself a bit of an opener, but maybe it was a little bit too tough an opener for Haste. Try to see if he can use mobility to catch up to Lentenia. Set up a couple of feathers before Lentenia got an opener on the boxes. Lentenia has a doubt on him or something. Shadow Crusher on the corner. Doesn't quite connect with the Rogue. Definitely needs to go for some kind of a fear stun combo until Lentenia is able to load him up with dots, able to put some pressure into him. Looking for maybe potentially using the Ascension. Does get himself the feathers. That is going to be slowed by the Rogue as they're attacking through the pillar. That crippling slow poison is going to slow down the priest quite a bit. It's going to get a stun around the corner. Trinket, Human Rachel for Lentenia. Got himself a sippy cup in order to get himself a bit of recovery. Haste, better be careful. Fear onto Lentenia. No way for him to break it. Just use the Human Rachel so he cannot really get himself out on ACC. Cloak Shadows to follow. So Lentenia's big defensive is getting used really, really early. Sepsis onto Haze. Does he have survivability here? Has a Trinket. Mean to go for every single defensive. Does go for as much self-healing as possible. Does he have much powered line potentially? Oh, he needed something there as he was diving in super low on health. Definitely needed some kind of an emergency heal ability. That's a rough one. Chicago, but too. More healing than damage. That is interesting. Shamans, man. I wonder, so they're going after Demon Hunters for their healing. I wonder if they'll be like, you know what? Shamans too, by the way. Shaman, here's Shaman too.